I would like to begin by speaking directly to the part of you that feels tired, a part that perhaps no one sees, but that carries the weight of a search that seems to have no end. It is the exhaustion of the incessant hunt for the soulmate, a desire so beautiful to connect, but that over time has turned into a silent source of anxiety. It is the cycle of filling yourself with hope and then feeling the bitter taste of disappointment over and over again, which leaves in your chest a chronic feeling that something fundamental is missing. This search for someone from the outside to validate you, to complete you, is a journey that consumes your most precious energy and keeps you trapped in a feeling that you, as you are still not enough. It is precisely here, at this point of exhaustion, that the profound wisdom of CARL Jung offers us a completely different path, a true reversal of course. He teaches us, with transformative clarity, that this almost desperate search for a person out there is actually a reflection of an urgent need for union within. We are not, deep down, looking for a partner. We are searching for the lost and forgotten parts of ourselves. The image of the soulmate that we paint in our minds so perfectly is, in fact, an echo of our own soul, the projection of that part of us, luminous and whole, that lives in our unconscious and that we most desire to find and embrace. So, the promise I make to you for our time together is not a guide with manifestation tricks to attract a person. The invitation here is to something much more sacred and powerful, a deep dive into the process of becoming whole. Our goal is to shift the focus from searching to cultivation. It is to begin a journey of inner gardening, where you prepare your own soil, water your own seeds, and tend to your own roots. A process that naturally makes union with another person stop being a hunt and become an inevitable consequence, an encounter that happens at the right time, simply because your inner world has finally come into alignment. What of this solitude that you fear so much, the one that sometimes feels like a punishment, is actually the sacred and fertile soil where the strongest, most whole, and most magnetic version of you needs to flourish before any encounter? What if this moment is, in fact, a gift in disguise? Let's dive together into this silent pain, the one you may know so well that you've even gotten used to its presence. It's the pain of finding yourself attracting over and over again relationships that seem to be the answer at first, but that over time end up touching exactly the same wound as always. The partner who isn't really available, the one who subtly criticizes, the person who seems to need to be fixed by you. The faces change, the stories change, but the dynamics and the final feeling of disappointment remain the same. It's like being stuck on an emotional merry-go-round, feeling the dizziness of a cycle that seems to have no way out, and that makes you silently question, what's wrong with me? Why do I always end up here? Depth psychology offers us a light to illuminate this pattern through a simple but powerful idea, that of the hook and projection. Consider for a moment that your unresolved parts, those childhood wounds, your deepest needs and insecurities, work like small, almost invisible energetic hooks that you carry in your soul. At the same time, the idealized image of your soulmate, that luminous figure that lives in your unconscious, also works like a very powerful projector. When you meet someone in the world who has a hook that fits perfectly into your wound, the projector is instantly activated, and you no longer see the real person in front of you with all their lights and shadows. You see the image that you projected onto them. You fall madly in love, not with the person, but with your own projection. And here we come to a truth that may seem harsh, but which is the first step towards your liberation. That wrong partner, the one who brought you so much pain, was not a mistake by the universe. He was, in fact, a perfect messenger, an absolutely faithful mirror of your own shadow. The irritation he caused, the frustration you felt, the pain of rejection or abandonment. All of this is a direct and accurate reflection of the parts of you that need healing the most, the parts of you that you rejected and abandoned long ago. Understanding this is revolutionary because it takes you out of the victim's place and puts you in the place of power. Thanking this messenger in your heart, not for the pain, but for the message he forced you to see, is what breaks the chains of the pattern. I invite you, not as a task, but as an act of deep self-love, to explore this in a quiet moment. Maybe tonight, or on a quiet weekend, grab a notebook that no one else can see. Allow yourself to list the top 3 characteristics or behavior that hurt or angered you the most in your last relation. No filter, just the truth of your heart. And then, with the courage of a soul explorer, look at each of them and ask yourself with complete honesty, in what ways, however small, even if only 1%, does this same characteristic also live within me? Perhaps in a way that I don't express, that I repress, that I judge in others so that I don't have to look at it in myself. Don't look for quick answers. Just stay with the question. Let the truth surface in its own time. Ultimately, looking for a partner without first taking this plunge to integrate your shadow is like trying to navigate uncharted waters using a map that belongs to someone else. You will inevitably get lost, because the map you are using does not describe your own unique inner territory. The journey now is to begin to draw your own map. Now, let's take our conversation to an even more inside your own body, to your biology. I want you to become aware of a pain that is invisible, but that is perhaps the most tiring of all. It is constant anxiety, that state of scanning the environment in search of a partner. It is a program that runs silently in the background of your mind, consuming precious energy, even when you do not realize. It is a subtle but continuous state of alert that keeps your nervous system in an emergency mode, always ready to fight or flee, always focused on what is missing. Science today is beginning to map what mystics have always known about the power of our feeling. When we live in an emotional state of lack, fear, or anxiety about loneliness, our brain operates at an accelerated pace, in a state of stress. And our heart, which is a much more powerful energy generator than we imagine, sends chaotic electrical signals to the brain. Scientists call this heart-brain incoherence. This state of internal disorder is not just a feeling. It is a real energetic signature, a biological signal that your body emits to the world, a vibration that communicates at a very deep level the energy of lack, stress, and separation. And here lies a very subtle danger, a trap that we have all fallen into, the addictive fantasy. Daydreaming about the ideal partner, imagining the perfect date, creates a small burst of dopamine in your brain. Dopamine is the chemical of desire, motivation, and pursuit. The problem is that your brain can become addicted to this feeling of pursuit rather than the feeling of presence. Energetically, you spend your days rehearsing and training your body and mind to live in the absence of what you desire. You become a true master at feeling desire, at feeling the urge, but not at feeling fulfillment. You become an expert at wanting, not at being. The way out of this biological trap is a practice of self-generated fulfillment. Hurry! And the invitation is not to pretend that you feel complete, but to deliberately connect with the fulfillment that already exists within you. In a moment of calm, close your eyes, search your memory for a real moment in your life when you felt pure joy, deep peace, or immense gratitude. It might have been watching a sunset on the beach, cuddling your pet, or listening to a song that touched your soul. Don't just think about that moment. Bring the feeling of it into your body right now. Feel it in your chest, in your breathing. By doing this, you are neurologically rehearsing the state of being complete. You are teaching your body, chemically, what it feels like to already have everything it needs. Think of your energy field as a radio station. If you spend all day broadcasting the constant signal of searching, 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 the universe, which is a vast field of resonance, can only reflect back to you the frequency of search. In order for your reality to tune into the music of encounter, you must first courageously begin broadcasting the symphony of fulfillment. You must become the music you want to hear. Let us now, together, touch very delicately on the deepest wound, on the anguish that often lives in the silence of our dark room. It is the fear of loneliness, but not loneliness as a passing phase, but rather loneliness felt as a sentence of failure. It is that devastating belief, whispered deep in the soul, that if you are alone, it is because you're not good enough, not interesting enough, not lovable enough. It is from this belief, this primary wound, that all the desperate search for someone to save us from ourselves is born. It is to heal this fundamental wound that Jung's psychology offers us a map, the map for the most important journey of our life, the sacred path of individuation. And let us take the weight of this word away. Individuation has nothing to do with becoming selfish or a person isolated from the world. Quite the opposite. It means becoming indivisible. It means becoming whole. It is the heroic journey of discovering who you really are, beyond the expectations of your family, society, and culture. It is the process of courageously looking within and integrating all the parts of you, your light and your shadow, your strength and your fragility, the masculine and feminine energy that dwell within you. And here is the revelation that has the power to completely change the rules of the game of love and life. The most important, most sacred, and most transformative union you will ever experience is not with another person. It is the union that happens within you, between your everyday I, your consciousness, and your self, your divine spark, the center of your soul, your totality. Jung called this the alchemical marriage. When this inner union begins to happen, the desperate need for a partner out there simply dissolves. It transforms into a calm longing, a serene preference. You stop being a satellite, spinning anxiously in search of a planet to orbit, and become your own center of gravity, naturally attracting into your orbit that which resonates with your new wholeness. The first practical step on this journey is to begin a ritual of dating yourself. And this goes far beyond the cliches of taking yourself out to dinner or buying flowers. It's about genuinely setting aside time in your schedule to discover who this person is that you live with every day. It's about grabbing a notebook and starting a curious dialogue with your own soul, asking real questions. What really fascinates me in the world? What skill have I always wanted to learn just for the pleasure of learning? If I didn't need anyone's approval at all, how would I choose to spend my next Sunday? And then listen to the answers that come from the silence and honor them small action. Always remember this profound truth. You don't attract into your life who you want. You attract a reflection of who you are. To find royalty in a relationship, you must first learn to rule your own inner kingdom with wisdom, with courage, and above all, with a deep and unshakable compassion for yourself. It is very likely that, on your journey, you have already encountered the frustration of trying to think positive or using affirmations that, in the end, sounded empty. You repeat the words, "I am love, I am complete," but a part of you, deep down, does not believe them. There is a painful disconnect between what your conscious mind is trying to force and what your body and heart are really feeling. And what you may not know is that the language that the universe understands is not the language of the words you say, but the language of the feeling that you inhabit. It is to build this bridge between the mind and the heart that we can rely on a profound wisdom known as the law of assumption. And this has nothing to do with faking it until you make it. It is an invitation to something much more real. It is the act of, through your imagination, assuming the state of being of the person you would be if your desire were already a reality. For deep psychology, imagination is not a childish fantasy. It is a powerful and real function of our soul. The secret is that for this assumption to work, the image you create in your mind and the feeling you generate in your body need to be in perfect harmony, in total coherence. And the most liberating revelation of this path is that silence is infinitely more powerful than intention. Instead of asking for or actively trying to visualize what you want, the most magnetic state a human being can achieve is that of silent knowing. It is a deep calm, a tranquility that arises from the inner certainty that you are already complete and that everything is fine. This silence, charged with peace and self-sufficiency, is the highest, purest, and most coherent frequency that you can emit into the field of life. It is the energy of someone who needs nothing and who, for this very reason, becomes an open field to receive everything. To cultivate this state, there is a practice you can do every night, a true ritual of reprogramming your soul. When you lie down to sleep, in that drowsy state between sleep and wakefulness, forget the image of your partner. Instead, feel and embody the state of being of the person you would be if you were already living a healthy and fulfilling love. Just feel. What would your breathing be like? Probably slower, deeper. What would the sensation be in your chest, in the center of your being? Would it be peace? Would it be security? A calm and serene joy? Find that feeling in your body. Snuggle up to it. And then fall asleep in that state, letting it infiltrate your subconscious throughout the night. Remember that the quantum field, the universe, does not work like a waiter who takes your order. It works like a mirror. And a mirror cannot reflect to you an image that is not in front of you. It cannot reflect into your reality a version of yourself that you have not yet become internally. Your one and only sacred job is to become, on the inside, the image you wish to see reflected on the outside. And so we come to the final layer of our inner journey, the subtle pain of impatience. It is the anxiety of trying to control the when and how things should happen. It is the attempt to micromanage the universe, born of a deep fear that if you let go of control, nothing will happen. But this tension, this contracting energy that you feel in your body as you try to force an outcome, is precisely what creates a barrier and blocks the natural, intelligent, and graceful flow of life. It is when we learn to release this tension that the universe begins to respond to us in a magical way. This is where Jung's synchronicity meets the idea of an energy field that connects everything. Synchronicity, those perfect and meaningful coincidences that send a shiver down our spine, are not accidents. They are the physical proof that your inner world and the outer world have entered into resonance. They are like signposts on the path, milestones that the universe sends to you to whisper, "Keep going. You are on the right path. I see you. Keep becoming who you are." And here is the most liberating break in expectations of all, the one that I invite you to embrace with your whole being. Meeting an idealized partner is not the prize that awaits you at the end of the line. The real prize, the real treasure is the whole, magnetic, resilient, self-aware person that you have become along this journey. The partner that life presents to you through synchronicity is actually a bonus. It is a celebration. It is a reflection of the union that you first bravely conquered within your own heart. Your final action, therefore, is paradoxically a form of non-action. It is the practice of what we can call divine indifference. And this is not coldness. It is not giving up on love. It is the opposite. It is falling so deeply in love with your purpose, your joy, your expansion, and your service to the world, that the arrival of a partner becomes a beautiful and welcome possibility, but not a necessity for your happiness. It is this serene detachment that seals your alignment. It is the energy of someone who is already so full that they do not need anything, and therefore are ready for anything. Imagine two violins, perfectly tuned to the same note, placed on opposite sides of a large room. If you touch the string of one of them, the same string on the other violin begins to vibrate on its own, in resonance, without anyone touching. Your job is not to run around the room hunting for the other violin. Your job is simply to find your note, your purest truth, and learn to hold it with clarity, constancy, and love. We journey together today from the shadow of the wounded hunter who projects his neediness onto the world, to the light of the magnetic sovereign who has found his center of power within himself. We have left behind the maps that were no use to us to begin drawing our own, and we have discovered that even the wrong partner was, in fact, a guide in disguise, pointing us the way back home. The great quest of the human soul, the ultimate truth of depth psychology, is the search for the conjunctio, the alchemical marriage. This is the sacred union of the sun and the moon, of your consciousness and your unconscious, of your masculine and your feminine, within the temple of your own psyche. Every external union that is healthy, happy, and lasting is, and always will be, a symbol, a reflection of this great work of love that first took place within you. And so, the inevitable union that the title of this gathering promised was never about the guarantee of finding a partner. It was about the absolute certainty that you will inevitably find yourself the moment you stop looking for yourself in others. The union with your soul is destined. The union with another being who vibrates in the same tune then becomes the natural echo, the synchronous celebration of this first and most crucial of all unions. The person you become as you stop looking is the true destiny. The love that may find you along the way will only be the reflection of the love you have finally learned to give to yourself. The search is over. The journey inward has only just begun.